you just saw my latest article that came out, or my latest newsletter, we talk about how, things like The Biggest Loser, right? Those shows, why they are such a fake form of weight loss, right? How these participants are extracted from their real life and put into this artificial environment where somebody is prescribing and dictating to them what they eat, how they spend their days, what they're going to do to work out. And then they get these incredible results, but they're removed from their own life. They don't have to handle the day-to-day stressors and challenges that pop up with parenting or relationships or work or anything like that. And then they go back into their real life, and guess what happens? They gain the weight back because there's nobody there dictating and telling them exactly what to do. And all of a sudden they've got all of these emotional stressors. So what I want to talk about today is, where do you spend your energy, right? Where do you spend your energy? Is it on the change that you desire, that you just so desire in your life? Or do you spend that emotional energy thinking, worrying, wondering, planning, wishing, hoping, and yet at the end of the day, do you stay stuck? So, because here's the biggest myth. The myth out there is that change takes a ton of effort, right? That to change, you have to have like incredible resources, and that it takes way more energy to change. And what I'm going to tell you is that it takes about the exact, there's going to be emotional energy expended either way. Either you're going to stay stuck, wishing, waiting, wondering, hoping, blaming, complaining, justifying why the life or the weight or the health that you so wish to achieve just isn't happening for you. And that is a drain. Like, if anybody watching has ever been in a life rut, or at a place where you don't enjoy being, or things have been hard, the soul suckingness that can happen when you're not feeling like you're living life on purpose, or not feeling like the best version of you. And yet we'll seduce ourselves into believing, well, that this is fine. I'm going to tolerate this because change is too hard. Change is hard in a way, right? There's going to be energy expended, because in order to change, it means you can't keep doing what you're doing. And if you keep doing what you're doing, you're going to get more of the same result. This is what I see. I see this in so many different aspects of people's lives. And luckily I get to work with, tons of women at a time and see the patterns. And the thing is that it's up to you, right? It's really up to you. And all it takes is making the decision. Making a decision to change is probably one of the hardest parts, because there's that little voice in your mind that's going to tell you you're not ready, it's not time, it's going to be too hard, you've got too much on your plate, you should wait till it's going to be easier, you should wait until X, Y, and Z have been taken off, off your list. But the thing is the minute that those things all happen, all of these other things come in. I mean, that's life, right? I can't remember a point in my life where I was like, oh, phew, now I've got some time to just sit back and, change. Usually change has been thrust upon me, or I actively seek it out because I'm desiring something or a better state of being, either, financially or in my body or in my health. So what I would say is, if you have a pen and paper, and it's worthwhile having a pen and paper, is ask yourself, where is my energy currently going? Write it down. Just write it down. And there's no harm, no foul. It's just, you can't change what you're not aware of. And then on a scale of 0 to 10, ask yourself, how much of my energy do I spend wishing, waiting, wondering, hoping, planning, talking? And how much energy do I spend doing, deciding, taking action, and moving forward? You're going to see that unless there starts to be a shift in the energy that you spend on doing something, then you're probably not getting the result that you want to get in life. It's impossible to get the result you want to get in life unless you're choosing to actively seek out change. And the reason that change can be challenging is because it means you are getting out of your comfort zone, right? I talk about this so much. We're creatures of comfort. We like the comforts of home. We like comfort food. We want to be safe and secure and stable, and we want our environment to be familiar to us. And even if we don't like something, we know from the research that we will endure it and tolerate it, as opposed to taking that step of changing it. And that's what's so hard, right? Because if you actually want to change, the hardest part is starting. The hardest part is starting. The minute you start, everything gets easier. It's making the decision to start. It's, wondering when you should start. How do you start? What's the best way to move forward? And then you can spend days, weeks, months, decades wondering how to do it. What's the best way? And this can be, in your relationship. It can be with weight loss. It can be with parenting. We can just spend a lot of time as opposed to actually doing it. So I thought about this the other day. I didn't have my phone with me because if I did, I probably would have done a Facebook Live. And I was out for this run. And lately I've had a stop-start relationship with running, and normally I'm pretty consistent. And I can 100% tell you that consistency makes everything so much easier. The stop-start, oh my God, it is so tough up here because you start, first of all, it takes all of this energy to start, and then you do it, and then for whatever reason, you get a cold, you get sick, you're on vacation, and you get out of your habit, you get out of your routine, and then you've stopped. So now you have to have all of that energy go right back into making the decision to start again, and then you might stop. So you never actually get to the benefit of where you get into momentum or you feel consistently motivated because you're starting to see change. If I just simply didn't stop and continued with like my running training plan, I would be so much further along and it wouldn't feel as hard and it wouldn't feel like it took so much psychological commitment to get out and run because there's no consistency. So part of what the reason, the change cycle is that you don't just have to like make the decision. You have to make the decision sometimes every hour to stay committed to the change you want to create, right? You've got to stay committed to the vision. You've got to stay committed to the version of you that you are so determined to become, the version of you that feels healthier, more alive, more free, more in control, happier, there's more joy, there's more possibility. And what's exciting about that is, whoops, I gotta turn that off. There we go. What's exciting about that is that, well, then you start to see the results. And nothing is better than seeing results, right? So if you've been trying to, and specifically, I'm always talking about weight loss because I believe it is the most empowering, transformative journey a woman can go on. It's that moment when you make the commitment to you and your health, and then you can't escape yourself, right? We can't quit food. And you live with yourself 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And so at some point you have to face you. And often you have to face you over and over and over again in one 24-hour period. Where are the times that you feel uncommitted? What's going on when you feel weak? Where do you want to emotionally eat, right? Where do you beat yourself up? How does that work for you? And that's not always easy. It's not. It's easier to stop, or at least in the moment, it seems easier to stop because you forget how much energy you had to expend to actually start. Whereas if you could just hang on and get through whatever that tough place is, well, then you would be so much further ahead because now your energy is going into commitment, not into starting. And so I think that's like, there we go. I'm not sure. We've got my phone going off here. And so I think that that's going to be the biggest game changer for you is, get clear. Where do you feel like there's an emotional leak with your energy? Where is it getting wasted? Where is it getting spent that's not serving you? Energy is like this incredible resource that we all have access to, and we're either draining our energy or we're restoring our energy. And the things that drain our energy are when we have like emotional leaks. Right? It's like when we say one thing but do another. It's when we break those commitments that we've made to ourselves, the promises that we've made to ourselves. That's when, the negative energy can start to creep in. And this sense that like we're not good enough or we're failing, or if only we had more discipline or willpower. And really, it's kind of just around your habits. I mean, we all have habits of doing and habits of things that we don't do. And both are important if you want to change. Yes, you've got to have these things that you do, but you have to break the habit of not doing. And the habit of not doing is actually what's keeping you stuck. So do you have the habit of not getting up when your alarm goes off? Do you have the habit of working when your workout is scheduled? Do you have the habit of not prioritizing yourself and making other things important? I'm going to circle right back again around to the shows like The Biggest Loser, where somebody is micromanaging every aspect of the participants' days. And then we wonder, there's all these articles once the Biggest Loser participants go back into their real life about how shocking it is that they've regained all this weight and how, it's not them, it's the method. So for anybody watching, if you've, done something in your life to lose weight and it hasn't worked for you in the long run, it's not about you. It's going to be about the method that you've tried, because chances are it's been a method that's led to quick weight loss, and quick weight loss often leads to quick weight regain, because it means that somehow there's been like this idea of somehow a quick fix, as opposed to like true commitment that you cement over time so that it becomes your new normal. Right? So I'm committed to my new normal being real consistency with a running plan. For me, that's what I'm working on right now. My eating is consistent. I drink lots of water. I eat lots of veggies. I'm super, connected to mindfulness around eating. And so right now, for whatever reason, that's been my weak spot. Okay, so I'm going to make the decision. But a decision is just a decision. It's like really vague unless you're actually implementing and doing. So I can continue to feel crappy about the fact that like I'm not getting better with my running. I'm not running farther and I'm not running faster. But really, it's because I'm not doing it regularly. Whereas the more you start to do things on a regular basis, the easier it gets. It's like learning anything. And so when we talk about real weight loss for real life, like it's like you can't expect a method that has you stop living your life to work long term. And in the Weight Loss Code Academy, that's what we're dealing with. We're talking about 10 months of commitment so that you have the benefit of staying consistent and of learning what to do when life gets hard, or you do stop, and how to start again and not have it be months at a time that you stay stuck. Do you know that one of the biggest things I hear from women is this sentence, or roughly it's a version of this. It's like, well, I'm good for a few days, or I'm good for a while, and then something happens and I fall off the wagon and I stay there. I mean, I wish I had like $1 for every time I've heard that statement, because it is so common. And what that means is there's such a universality in terms of how we approach these things, right? It's like all, none, good, bad. The dieting mentality that's been in place for decades now is like, well, that's the only way to lose weight. No one knows another way to do it. You either punish yourself with like crazy exercise, which doesn't work as a weight loss, regimen, or you follow some crazy diet. Where's the middle ground with that, right? And so it goes back to where you want to choose to spend your energy. You can either spend it on making a decision to move forward and commit and take the daily actions that you need to take. And sometimes those are going to be the hourly actions. And the hourly actions are going to be dependent on what are your habits? What are your habits of doing? And what are your habits of not doing? Do you know that at night you should maybe get up and go for a walk, but what you do instead is you stay sitting down and watch Netflix? Do you know that you do better when you've got some healthy options available to you, but do you just not grocery shop, right? You got to have both. And so I invite you to take a hard look at your energy level. And if you are feeling drained or blah, or kind of like you're just in a bit of a rut, or things aren't going as well for you as you wish they were, then it's time for like an energy tune-up. And the best way to change your energy is to do something different. You can't keep doing more of the same and expect change to happen. It just doesn't work that way. And yet sometimes I think we lull ourselves into believing that if I just keep trying harder with this method that clearly doesn't work for me, that maybe somehow change will come into works. But it doesn't. It really doesn't. You got to do things differently if you want to experience or have something be different in your life. And then you got to do it repeatedly. So that's my message for you guys today. It's like, your choice where you want to spend your energy. I remember one time, I'm going to share this quick story before we're off here, is that, I saw this lecturer speak a long time ago. I was probably 26 or 27. And he started the lecture by saying that we were all on this earth here to suffer. And at first I was like, well, this is depressing. Like, what a depressing opening. I'm like, that's not true. I was like 27 and idealistic, right? Like there really hadn't been that much suffering in my life. And he went on to say that blah, 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 blah. But the point was, he's like, you are either going to suffer by wishing, wanting, hoping, and dreaming, And that's going to create suffering because you're not actualizing it. You're not realizing it. You're not going to be able to experience it. Or you're going to suffer by choosing to change and doing the work to achieve and experience those things that you so deeply want in your life. And it's probably not, probably call me a slow learner. It probably wasn't until about a decade later that I really understood the power of those words. There is a certain amount of suffering on the planet, right? Even possibly in your own life. And you can either suffer and stay stuck, or you can suffer through the process of change and do what it takes to get into action and the discomfort of doing something new and unfamiliar in your life and create the change you so desire. I will 100% choose to suffer in the form of good than in the form of staying stuck. I've done both. I'm really clear on what both feel like. Leona, hello, lady. We do still need to get together for this walk we've talked about. I would definitely like that. So I'm going to reconnect with you. But if this resonates with you at all, let me know. Let me know in the comments. Let me know if yes, oh my gosh, this makes sense. I, kind of struggle and suffer when I stay stuck. Or, oh my gosh, yeah, you know what? I'm willing to get uncomfortable. I had a good friend of mine and, she taught a spin class and she'd say, or what did she say? She's like, if you're not uncomfortable, you're not changing. Meaning if you're comfortable, you're stuck. Right? You got to challenge yourself to change. You got to challenge yourself to grow. In the world of training that I come from, one of the principles that we rely on a lot, it's called progressive overload, where we systematically know how much more resistance to apply to a muscle to allow it to develop. Right? Whether it's for endurance or strength, we know that too much, if the progressive overload is too much, well, then we're going to risk injury. But if it's too little, no change happens. So how can you up your intensity so that you can face the changes and the challenges that exist in your life and get stronger, right? If you want to see healthy weight loss happen, you cannot keep doing what you're doing or keep using the same methods. You're in it for the long play. Weight loss is a long play game. But then again, almost all significant change in life is. Leona, I always think, what can I do? Yes, Leona, so true. It's this decision, am I going to choose to be resourceless or resourceful? Right? When you're resourceless, you're looking for all of the reasons of why not. You're looking for all of the reasons of why you can't. You're looking for all of the justifiable excuses of being too busy, whatever. When you choose to be resourceful, which is definitely a mindset game, you're looking for all of the reasons how, all of the reasons why. You're looking for all of the opportunities, and you're looking for the people who can help you. Because no matter what it is you want in your life, I guarantee somebody else has created it for themselves and they know what it takes. And there's people all around us who can mentor us, coach us, guide us, whether it's a friend, who knows who that person would be, right? But get clear. You got to get really clear on what you want and then choose. Am I going to be resourceful or resourceless? When you're resourceful, you will ask the question that Leona said, which is, what can I do right now? What can I do? Not why can't I do it, and here are all the reasons why, right? It's a completely different mindset approach to get into there. Shell, hello. So think about that. And whatever your challenge is, I think that these, shows are kind of useless unless you actually have a takeaway from them. And that takeaway can just be one simple thing. What is the thing that you're going to ask yourself today, which is, what can I do? Find the challenge in your life, find the hard thing, find the thing that's been keeping you stuck. And instead of just blame, complain, or justify, that's the trifecta of total stuckness, go, okay, world, I can handle this. What can I do right now to make this even just a little bit better? I love that question. So that's it for today. It's Get Real with Jen. I show up here every Monday at 12 p.m. We've done it consistently. I've been able to be here no matter what travel, what schedule, what flying, and I love it. So if you have questions or if you have topics that you'd love to see discussed or want my point of view on, please put it into the comments or email me at jennifer@jenniferpowder.com. And if you are out there and you have been stuck on your weight loss journey for way too long, then I'm going to put a link in the comments below for you to check out a program that's starting in just a few short weeks from now called the Weight Loss Code Academy. I invite you to not stay stuck. Make one decision that's going to move you forward in some way, shape, or form. Have a super Monday, everybody. Bye for now.